is that you're going to be doing a t-shirt design contest. Okay, so let's zoom this out. You and your family are attending a family reunion. The kids in the family have been challenged to create a coat of arms that represents the family history. So those of you that aren't familiar with what a coat of arms is, it's like a shield kind of. You can see it here outlined on this paper. And basically what you do is you pick symbols that represent you or your family, right? So for example, one of my symbols looks like a Starbucks cup because I like Starbucks, and my boys know I like Starbucks. So that would be part of my coat of arms, right? So you can either make it family-oriented or you can make it you-oriented. It's your choice, okay? So the winning design is going to be selected for the family shirt, what have you. Now, there are some restrictions. The printing company requires you use less than 16 points per shape. Okay, so let me show you some examples of the shapes that I created, because keeping it simple is going to be a huge advantage here, okay? So now I highlighted these in yellow so you could see them better. You're not going to do that. You're just going to write it unless you want to, I guess. But really you just need to come up with a way to draw your shape in as few points as possible, okay? So what I did here is I drew a Starbucks cup. This is going to be a donut, right? Can't use curves. You got to use straight lines. So you have to get creative. And then, of course, an M, right? So you're going to draw your shapes, okay? Everybody with me? Yeah. You're going to design your shapes. Keep them simple. Now, on my final page, I'm going to color this in to look like a Starbucks cup. But that's not going to be part of my design with the points. I'm going to color this in to look like a donut that has icing. But I'm not going to put points on that so that it looks like that already. You can color it in and design it and make it creative when you're done with your finished product, right? So you come up with your 4 images to represent you or your family, okay? Then the directions, which you don't have yet, you will in a minute, say your family design, your family loves your design, but they don't love the placement. They request that you change the location of each individual shape and provides you with another coordinate plane using the following criteria. Each shape has to relocate to a new quadrant. So every shape you create has to move to a new quadrant. So, for example, if I'm going to move this one, and it has to fit. So where's really the only place I can move that Starbucks cup?
To the left.
To the left. It's not going to fit down here. I could move this M anywhere. It's going to fit here. It's going to fit here. I could move the donut anywhere. But if you decide to make a bigger image, you have to be prepared to make it fit. Okay? There's no dilations allowed. You can't shrink things or enlarge them.
Hey, do we have to draw that in?
Let me keep explaining, please. Okay? Each one, a reflection, rotation, and translation must be used to transform 3 of your shapes. Okay, so you're going to keep track of which quadrant they start out in, which quadrant they finish in, so that you don't accidentally make 2 shapes end up in the same quadrant. The 4th shape must be transformed using a compound transformation. Who remembers what a compound transformation is?
It's something you transform twice.
Twice. Okay, a combination of at least. Dilations are not to be used. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how I did this. Everybody, eyes up on the screen, please. I know you're excited to make your drawings, but if you're not listening, when you get to this point, you're going to have questions. And again, I'm not going to feel super bad because I'm explaining it right now. Okay, so let's look here at my M. Right? I have my M, my original M here on my paper. So what I did was I described it. I said, all right, my image is the M. I'm going to reflect it over the y-axis. And here is the algebraic representation of doing that. Opposite of x, y. I wrote down all of my pre-image coordinates. So I went around my M and wrote down all the ordered pairs. Remember, I can't have more than 16. So you don't have to make 16. You just can't go further than 16. That's why this table stops at 16 rows. Then I performed my algebraic representation to get all of my new ordered pairs. Everybody with me so far? So I drew it, I filled this out, I filled in my pre-image coordinates, and then I came up with my image coordinates, and then I moved it. I said I was going to reflect it over the y-axis. So if you look here, if I zoom out, you can see how my M went from here to here. It's kind of hard to see a little bit on the horizontal and verticals, but you can see my M is here. I reflected it over the y-axis. Now it's in this bottom corner, right? So then the same thing I did with the Starbucks cup. I decided I was going to rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise because I knew it had to stay in that top left quadrant. It wasn't going to fit in the bottom ones. So I wrote out my pre-image coordinates. I looked in my notes to find out what is the algebraic representation for 90 degree counterclockwise because I knew it had to go from here to here, right? I wrote out my coordinates. I did my algebraic representation. And now my Starbucks cup is kind of on its side, but it's fine. Still my Starbucks cup, right? Is everybody with me? It's a process. There's quite a few things to keep track of. Number one, you have to make sure that where you move it, it will fit. Like I said, I didn't have a choice to move the Starbucks cup to either of these places. It wasn't going to fit down here. Okay? You have to make sure where you move it, you didn't already move another shape in that spot. You have to make sure you do a rotation, a reflection, and a translation. And then the last one is a compound, right? So I decided the donut was going to have a translation and a reflection. So the first thing I did was I wrote out my ordered pairs. This little squiggle here reminds me that I have a shape inside a shape. So this is the outside of a donut, this is the inside of the donut. So I did my transformation, my translation, where I added 2 to every x. I left the y alone. And then I'm getting ready to do my reflection over the x-axis. Because now my donut is going to end up over here, where my coffee cup was, my Starbucks cup. Yeah?
Okay.
It's a lot, but you guys have all the tools you need. You have everything to be successful to do this. So right now, what you're going to focus on for the next 18 minutes is trying to create what you want your images to be. Keep them simple. The more complicated you make them, the more frustrated you're going to get. And that's not the goal. I just want you guys having fun and being creative and coming up with ways to move these around. Questions for the good of the group? It's okay to have questions. JD? Nope.
All we're doing is making shapes.
So you're going to make the shapes. You're going to fill out this second page that you'll get here in a minute and explain what your transformation is, pre-images, images. Now, on this final page, this is where I'm going to decorate these. I'm going to get out my green and make this Starbucksy. I'm going to color in the M. I'm going to make my donut look like it has icing and sprinkles on it. Right? That's where you get creative after you have the outline of your image. Yeah?
Okay.
Okay. All right, I'm going to stop the video. You guys can go ahead and start making your designs.